Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and here I am. I'm still playing with my Richard Petty Superbird project that I'm kit bashing with the Salvinos JR 71 Charger kit. And, I've been enjoying your comments and your tips and your knowledge on this. I really do appreciate all of that. I've been responding to some of the comments. Sometimes it might be just one word or two, but I really do appreciate the input and some of that stuff. And like some of you had pointed out that the gas cap was on the right side for the road cars, and on the speedway cars, it was on the left side. Well, to me, it's kind of weird that they would flop it back and forth or move it. Kind of surprised it doesn't have it on both sides like some of the Trans Am cars. But, I don't know the accuracy. But this one, I did sit there and I drilled it. It's actually pretty thick plastic. So I was going to drill it all the way through, but I got to a certain point where I liked the way it was, and I put the gas cap in there to see how it fit. I filled in this little hole right there with super glue. But I've been doing a little bit of work to this body here, cleaning it up and messing with it a little bit. But I'm trying to fit stuff to the inside of the body as well. Now, I've done a lot more cleanup on the inside. I talked about sanding those out of there. So I did remove those, smoothed it all out. So a lot of work's been done. And it's kind of funny to see, or some of this is going to be blocked off. I shaved these down a little bit. And also I talked about trimming the vent windows out. I did do that as well. So here you can, if I put it in there, you can see that they're there, but they're not there. So I mean, certain angles you can see them, but that's part of it. And then I was going to leave this. I can trim all this out. Might give me a little bit more room for the roll cage, but I've already got it to pretty much where I want it. But I might just do that anyway, trim all this out, because I've smoothed all this out and you can see a lot of this. Maybe not so much the roof. But I think I'm going to do that to the windows. Take these out. Maybe that'll get the roll bar a little bit higher, but I'm not really too concerned about that part of it. Because it does clear all of it as it sits right now, and it might be a little bit better to glue this in this way, but haven't decided yet. Open on input there, but I did start messing around with let's put this here, with more of the chassis and mock-up. Got the air cleaner sitting on the carburetor. I hollowed out the center a little bit to get it to sit flush, and it's white glued. Radiator and the snorkeler are ducting is now kind of mocked up, and I kind of put the spindles in to see where the wheels are. But then I got a little ambitious and really started to add sheet styrene to this and everything. So I widened both of those like I wanted to. Now it's probably 1/4 inch on each side, so it's way too wide now, and it won't fit in the body. So I was thinking of ideas on how to shave this and trim this. And I've got some ideas there, but before I get into that, it's kind of funny. I started thinking, I've done so much work to this body, and some parts of it are really thin, and I really don't want to keep flexing it back and forth. So I dug out my other spare body. I don't want to say spare. I have a whole nother kit that's pretty much complete, and I haven't touched it. And it's kind of funny to look at this one, as the other one was mostly complete, but it was missing a body. And I mentioned that this was one I, bought off of somebody through Facebook, one of the things, looking for all this stuff. So, I mean, like I said, this is a Sox and Martin body, but it's literally the same body. But it's kind of fun to, now that I've done all this work, to look at the inside here and see all the stuff I've sanded off and removed and cleaned up. All these mounting bits in here and there that I cleaned out of there, and some of the bumps and bruises and mold lines that are in there, all the stuff I've actually just removed. You can see in here, and some on the outside. Some of these dimples and divots, and like even this swelling right there. Filling in the marker lights, and how rough this one is around the wheel openings. And this is who knows, how old this one is. And you can kind of see right through it right there, where it's really thin in the plastic right there. So that's kind of fun to see too. Put light behind it, you can really see it. But the vent windows, taking those out, cleaning all this up. So seeing the two bodies and then how nice the door handles are in here. These ones, the door handles are already kind of sanded from being stripped before, so I didn't have much to go to turn them into the plates instead of the door handles. This one needs to come down a little bit more, but I haven't done that yet. So it's kind of fun to look these over. But I figured I would dig this one out so that when I'm not mocking this one in, I'm not flexing that one, and I can get it dialed in. But to get it dialed in, I was thinking of ideas on how to make templates, how to measure things, and tools that I have on hand, and different methods of doing this. And then it hit me. Pull out my not so fancy plastic inside outside micrometer here, dial calipers. This is a plain old mechanical one. Had it forever. Matter of fact, I still have the case here. Empire, made in USA. So who knows? Look, 3 of 2003. So okay, so 20 years. I probably had it that long. I'm not sure when I bought it, but this is nice and fancy, and it's good enough too where I can get a feel for it. I can get the feel on the outside here, and then go to the inside ones and see, is it going to fit? No, of course not. But you can pull it in, get an idea where it's going to sit, right there, and get a feel for it, and just turn around and see right here. All right, I know where it's going to be. I already know it's going to be lining up with that, so I got to trim from here. But that gives me plenty of things to go by, and I can start marking, start trimming, hit it with the Dremel. But I just super glue these in place. Now they're kind of a little wavy, but I haven't put any filler in here or sanded anything. And matter of fact, it V'd a little bit right here, but when I extend it, I'll be flattening it out. And it's working pretty well as far as that's going. But I'll be using this as a guide to have some feeling to get this in here, and I'll be sanding and tweaking. But once I get it really close, I'll start fitting it into this body. Because worst case scenario, if I break this or crack this, I can repair this and it'd be less work, and eventually or find a replacement. But this one I've done so much work to, I'd rather fit it to this one because the inside really isn't much different. And when it comes to some of these fancy tools, you can dig out, if you got nice ones like this one's kind of crazy. A digital one with metal. Really nice, really cool, but these have some really sharp points, and they can scratch and engrave your plastic, or especially any of the putty work. So even though these are nice, little overkill and a lot heavier, and you can actually scratch the plastic with one of these. Although this is for I need this for my push rods when I measure the push rods on my big block Mopar here. You need a 12-inch version here, where this 6-inch plastic one isn't going to do that in that particular combo. But for modeling, this is unnecessary. But if you got it and that's all you got, cool. Another thing that I dug out, I've had this, it's a Franklin Mint diecast. And just looking it over, I've had it forever, bought it at the mall, when there were malls and they carried diecast. I'm not sure when this was, issued, but it's kind of fun to look it over and everything. But it's got a lot more of the stock floor pan in this one. Interesting oil pan, the suspension, the torsion bars and everything. So while that's there and it's pretty cool, it just kind of gives me some ideas, but I don't know about the accuracy. But the gas door is on the driver's side, which like you guys mentioned, but I also see the wheel radius on those, and how it's built. And then looking at the motor in here, just for motivation and how they built it, and how the cage was done, and how the breathers are done here, if you can see them. I can't take the hood off, but it's kind of, it's fun to see all of that stuff, just to see how it was done. But again, there are videos online of the car too, so you can see what they're. So I wasn't stressing myself about accuracy. I'm just kind of having fun with the details and doing what I can with it. So I'm not completely stressing about it. And somebody mentioned that the torsion bars do seem to be here with a tubular cross member. I started mocking up the suspension. So the torsion bars are here. The radius arms here. But I've been, playing with it and getting this, so it's coming along. Oh, and another thing, I started to make a template. Some of you guys are wondering, different ways to make templates of the piece that's going to go here. So, but I V'd it because of the way the body is. You can see the V'd in line right there. So I was doing that to get an idea of exactly where it's going to go. So you can see it goes there. It goes to the width. It should fit. And all I got to do is once it's theirs. Now I don't know the length here. So I figured that's long enough and it moves it far enough back there. But I can always trim the front off and that'll be a straight line cut. As long as I don't mess it up. But, I still have this template. So that's the plan there. But now I'm going to keep working on, getting my measurements here, marking, and then thinning this with my Dremel and tapering it. Because you can see where it really tapers in right here. So definitely got to have the taper there and get it trimmed. But I figure this is going to be an interesting method. We'll see how it works out to get it to fit into this. Because right now, it's definitely not going to fit. Because I've definitely made it a 1/2 inch wider. But it's just easier to do it that way and then shave what I don't need. If I mess up, I can always just pop this all off because it's just super glued and stick another one on there. You can see the mold lines aren't real great. I just rolled it with my fingers and however I can get it in there and glued it in place. So definitely getting interesting. But I'm kind of enjoying this part of it, of figuring out what can I do, how's it going to work, is it going to work, and I'm kind of just playing. But it's just been keeping me going here, even though, like I mentioned, I had another project I was planning on working on, but I'm still playing with this one. But due to your guys' input and feedback and everything, it kept me kind of motivated to playing with this thing and giving me ideas. And I appreciate all your guys' inputs and ideas and thoughts on how to do different things. So I appreciate all of that. So thank you very much. And continue watching, and we'll see how much farther this goes, and what I'll be playing with this weekend when the weekend comes. It's supposed to rain here in Arizona, so we'll see how much rain we actually get. But thanks you guys for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments and motivation, everything. I really do appreciate it. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.